We often undervalue just how important it is to build a proper position behind your rifle. Because the reality is, how you get behind the gun is the foundation of all of your shooting. No matter what rifle, no matter what distance you're shooting, if you're not properly behind the rifle and executing good fundamentals, it's going to impact your performance downrange. At the Haley Strategic D5 Precision Rifle course, one of the instructors, Rob, did a really good classroom demonstration of the proper way to get behind a rifle, and I thought that it was best said by him. So we're gonna cut to a classroom segment from that class where he's explaining the proper procedure. And then at the end of that, I'm gonna dive into how I've screwed this up in the past and what I have done to fix it to date.
You see your target downrange, you place the gun oriented toward your target. So at best, you know you're looking in the right direction of the target. You don't set your gun this way and the target's over here. Your first target's off to the right side. So if you set your gun right here, then you get on your gun, what do you have to do? You have to alter and move your position all over. But if you orient the gun toward the target, you're already in line with it. Next piece, we've got our bipods locked in so we can kind of press against the gun. Pick the gun up here, put it into your shoulder. When you put it into your shoulder, you can then slide back, but you can see you can press into the end of the gun and fall down into it. So now I know when I sit like this, you see how the gun's stuck to my shoulder? You guys that are sliding that buttstock here and getting real close to the optic, one, you're not going to be able to see through your optic, and two, you're setting yourself up to get impacted in the eye with the optic. In the shoulder, plant it where it's supposed to be, boom, and you're right into place. So at this point, get into the gun, and I can sink down if I need to. By sinking down, what am I doing?
Pressing in the rifle.
No, I'm leaning back off the gun a little bit. Now I'm bringing my muzzle up, because up here, I'm tightening the gun. I'm like, okay, I can see the hill at the front of that's before the second target, the hill that goes down. You have target O. Okay, so I need my muzzle to come up. So what needs to happen back here?
A little lower.
No, lower. So I loosen that tension, and I can still have tension in the gun, but now I've dropped the back, the rear, the buttstock of the rifle, and now I can see where I'm going. If I'm still searching for my target, I can power down in magnification, locate exactly my target, and then dial it back up, so you can manipulate your optic to allow for better searching. So even though you oriented the rifle, if you're at 35 power, you're like, oh crap, I can't find it. Power it down, find it, zoom it out, zoom it back into where you need to be. The hand placement, obviously keep this hand back in the rear bag. That's going to allow you to raise and lower the gun and have a natural point of aim. So you still can induce movement. You're still going to be inducing movement with your shoulder. But if you can let that rest, it'll give you a little bit more stability on the gun. The firing hand, you can wrap this hand and keep the thumb on the same side, but you'll see a lot of guys put rearward pressure. If you put rearward pressure like this, sometimes you can kind of manipulate it left and right. But if you put your fingertips here, you can pull back into you. This is going to make a big difference when you're shooting off of barricades especially. It's a good thing to know, because if you're shooting off, say, a hood of a car and you load your bipod, you're going to sling rounds high every time. Your bipods are going to bounce and you're going to throw rounds high. And you're not going to return, you're not going to be able to follow through with it. But if you drop your bipods and pull the gun to you, you can maintain control a whole lot better.
Cole-Tac manufactures high-quality sewn goods right here in America, and I've been running a ton of their gear over the last couple years. I got to know them originally through their suppressor covers, and this is my one suppressor cover that I've had on my rifle since around 2018, maybe 2019 era, and it is still kicking. They make everything from shooting wallets to shooting mats, shooting bags, and all sorts of other accessories in between. So whether you are a new shooter just getting into firearms, or you are well established on your precision rifle journey, Cole-Tac's got you covered. They've been a longtime supporter of us, and we love to run and use their products as well. So if you've been looking for a high quality, American-made manufactured sewn goods, check out Cole-Tac, and when you do, make sure you let Cole-Tac know TA sent you. What Rob was showing us there was a super simple procedure to get properly behind the gun. And you might be looking at me right now rolling your eyes like, dude, everybody knows how to get behind a rifle. The problem is when we apply what we know on the range, we get behind the gun, we think we're executing what we're supposed to do. Sometimes even inadvertently, we can add bad habits into our shooting, and we might not even notice it unless somebody else points it out. So being self-aware is very difficult when we're shooting because there's so much stuff happening all at the same time. But also I want to challenge you with one thing. Obviously, in the real world, we're not always going to be behind our guns in the perfect position. However, we need to learn first the fundamentals inside of as perfect of a foundation as possible so that we can execute those fundamentals when we get into less than ideal situations. You don't want to make it harder on yourself at the beginning as you're learning just for the sake of making it harder on yourself. That's a dumb argument. It will only hold you back over time and limit your growth. So when I got into shooting rifles, one of the worst habits that I experienced and that I did personally was on shooting benches like at this gun club, where I'm zeroing my hunting rifle, I'm trying to just zero some other AR-15 or something like that. Some of the benches I shot off of were not flat and square, so they had this really weird angle to them, so you had to sit sideways, kind of canted. And I'm just gonna show you here as I get behind the gun an example of that. Right now, my eyes are going this way, but my target is over there. My body's basically squared off here. My gun's pointed over here. And when I get behind the gun like this is a less than ideal situation when I'm trying to build the fundamentals. And I found myself doing this all the time. And just from the sake of recoil management, or just an example of recoil management, I should say, when you are not behind the rifle properly, you can tell because your optic jumps all over the place when you break the shot. I've learned over time that when I get a good foundation behind my rifle, even with a caliber like this 300 PRC, my gun tracks straight back with the recoil, and I'm able to see those shots landing even at distances and great distances. But when I have poor fundamentals, that's when things go haywire. Either I introduce inputs into the gun, that could be me pushing, because now I'm kind of, my body weight's moving the stock. I'm not one cohesive unit with this rifle. There's too much input going on, and that recoil on top of that with a gun like this, if you don't have a good pocket or a good placement of your stock in your shoulder with a high recoiling gun, and it were to slip off your shoulder and roll down your arm, you could get punched in the face with the scope pretty quick. So little things like me thinking, like what Rob was explaining, I know where my target is. My gun needs to face my target. I set my gun in that orientation. Rather than being fanned out or being cantilevered, like a lot of people seem to think is a good thing to do, I square off behind my gun. Everything here is pointing at the target. I'm at a 90-degree angle. I can get behind my gun, find my shoulder pocket here. I've got full engagement of the stock. I'm able to get very stable. And now when this gun breaks, it will shove straight back. My scope will track straight back as long as I'm not introducing other inputs into the rifle when I'm breaking the shot. And you can see that when you watch slow motion footage of someone shooting, when they're shooting it with an improper form, you can look at what the gun is doing, especially with high recoiling calibers and cartridges like 300 PRC. And then you can look at and analyze when they're doing it correctly. You are able to see a clear distinction of how the rifle is behaving in the hands of the person. And remember, we want to be as solid behind the gun as possible, because all of the inputs that happen here affect what's happening downrange. The more solid we can be right at the moment when we're breaking the trigger, and the least amount of input that we can put into the gun, the less variance, I should say, is going to happen downrange. And if you envision it with one last thing here, as we square off on that gun, the objective is going to be able to break the trigger without introducing any input into the gun. And so I've just learned over the years that the things that I thought were comfortable and the things I did because they felt comfortable were often not the right thing for me to do. And when I got behind the gun in a proper way, it actually was very uncomfortable. And if you're someone that likes to shoot your rifle canted like that when you get to the gun club, and you've got like this Y formation that happens when you're shooting, the moment you square off behind that rifle and you get into a proper form, it's gonna feel really weird. I remember feeling that. First time I laid down prone and I really got behind the rifle in a good way, it felt very strange. But I promise you, if you do that, you follow what Rob was saying in the classroom, you follow some of his guidelines, and you have a good foundation, your performance downrange is going to just continue to get better and better and better. So I'm curious what you all think. Is this new information? Did this totally change your life? Or is this something that you already knew and have been executing over time? I'm also curious if you have input for other new shooters. If you have some experience that you think would be helpful to somebody that's just starting on the journey, share it down in the comment section, because we're ultimately trying to build a community here of people that are inspiring each other to become more capable providers and protectors. And we do that by sharing the information that we're learning and helping other people to overcome the obstacles that they're facing on this firearm and training journey. Another thing I'm going to ask you guys to do is to check out all of our products on the TA Targets website. Especially check out our new cardboard C-Zone targets. We've got a two-sided cardboard target that was a labor of love that I've poured into over the last couple months. And it's one of the most exciting products I think I've ever dropped, because it helps me. It changed my life, and it gave me a tool that not only allowed me to train my standard pistol shooting and rifle shooting, but I can zero my precision rifles. I basically have a one size fits all, one target does all. And on one side, you've got a ton of different target arrays that you can train with, from zeroing to pistol work. And on the other side, it's just got your standard A and C zone that you would see on a USPSA target. So if you want to support us, grab a pack of 10, 25, or 50 of those targets, get the training, and then tag us in the content when you guys are running it. It's a very inexpensive way to say thank you to us if you appreciate what we're doing, or if, better yet, if you see value in the things that we're doing. Because ultimately that's what we're trying to do, is provide value to you guys so we can change your life in a positive way. So I appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, share the video. I'll catch you on the next one.